In Activity 2, Earth Orbits the Sun, students explore the concept of satellite. They visualize how gravity holds a satellite orbit around another object in space. Students first build a model satellite system and then relate the concept of gravity to Earth's orbit around the Sun, as well as the Moon's orbit around the Earth. You'll need the following materials from the kit: Activity Sheet 2, drilled foam balls, plastic tubes, washers, and one spool of fishing line. You'll also need to provide safety goggles and a pair of scissors. To prepare for the activity, make a copy of Activity Sheet 2 for each student. Cut a 1 meter length of fishing line for each team of 2, plus 1 for your demonstration model. To construct a satellite system demonstration model, tie the end of a 1 meter length strip of fishing line to the washer. Thread the other end of the line through the plastic tube and through the hole in the ball. Then tie this end around the ball. Note that to make the fishing line easier to thread, you may want to wrap a small piece of tape around the end of it. Each team will need a foam ball, a washer, a plastic tube, and a 1 meter length of fishing line. To begin the activity, demonstrate the satellite system model to the class. Hold the tube above your head and move your fist so that the ball swings in a circle. Ask students, what is the ball doing? What is the ball traveling around? Responses will vary. Make sure to encourage responses that mention that the ball is moving in a circle and that the ball is traveling around your fist. Next, introduce some important terms for students. Define the mass of an object as the measure of how much material an object contains. Then define the word satellite as an object that travels around a larger object. Finally, discuss the term orbit with the class, and explain that an orbit is the path that a satellite takes as it moves around that object. Note that the word orbit can also be used as a verb, meaning to travel the path of the orbit. Ask students to relate the words satellite and orbit to the satellite system model you've built. Students should assert that the satellite is the ball and the ball is traveling or orbiting around your fist in a circular orbit. Next, remind students that a solar system is made up of a star and the objects that travel around it. Lead students to understand that in this demonstration, your fist represented the sun and the ball represented a planet. Explain that planets are satellites because they orbit the sun. Encourage students to think of other satellites besides planets and ask, can you think of another type of satellite, one that orbits the Earth? Students may correctly identify the moon as a satellite of our Earth. Mention to students that in addition to planets and the moon, there are also a number of artificial satellites that are used for communication, weather reporting, and space observation, and that these artificial satellites also orbit the Earth. Next, provide a copy of Activity Sheet 2 and a pair of safety goggles to each student, and distribute the materials to each team. Instruct students to build and operate the satellite model system that you've demonstrated, and then to complete Activity Sheet 2. Note that students must wear safety goggles when operating the satellite model system. When all of the students have completed their activity sheets, ask what keeps the ball from flying across the room when you spin it around. Students should respond that the string keeps this from happening. Then ask students, what do you think keeps Earth and the other planets from flying off into space away from the sun? Be sure to accept all reasonable answers. Next, introduce a few new terms to the students. First, define the word force as the push or pull of an object, and then define the term gravity as a force that exists between objects. Finally, identify gravitational attraction as the force of gravity that causes objects to be attracted to one another. Explain to the class that the amount of gravity depends on the masses of the objects and their distance. Therefore, the greater the combined mass of objects is, the stronger the force of gravity will be, and the farther away the objects are from one another, the weaker the force of gravity will be. Next, hold a foam ball at shoulder level and let it fall to the floor. Ask students, what happened to the ball? Why? Students may recognize that gravity caused the ball to fall down straight to the floor. Explain to the class that gravity acts between these two objects, the ball and Earth, just as it acts between the sun and Earth. and that both sets of objects have gravitational attraction between them. Guide students to understand that this gravitational attraction between the sun and the planets is what keeps the planets from flying off into space. Finally, ask students, what effect does Earth's gravity have on your body? Students may respond that the Earth's gravity keeps them on the ground, or that the gravitational attraction between the Earth and themselves keeps them from flying off into space. To conclude the activity, have students return the intact satellite system models and unused fishing line to the kit. Remember to return the demonstration model you've made as well. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the Delta Science Reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.